when you hammer on a level over and over again and finally break out, it's not like a breakout of this magnitude. It's usually a much bigger move that's just beginning.
Hey guys, welcome back to Library of Wealth. Today we have Gareth Soloway discussing the current state of the crypto market and where Bitcoin is headed in the coming weeks. As of the recording of this video, Bitcoin is sitting just below $26,000, down over $900 in the last 30 days alone. Bitcoin rallied almost 70% in the first 3 months of the year, contradicting expectations for a continued market decline. Soloway suggests that the market needs to break through and stay above the $30,000 level before turning bullish. Soloway also observes the Bitcoin dominance chart, highlighting its consolidation phase, and predicts that the market is due for a pullback. Let's get right into the latest interview with Gareth Soloway as he gives us his prediction for Bitcoin and the crypto market in the coming weeks. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you enjoy the content we do here on this channel. Let's get right into the video.
I just wanted to show that Bitcoin dominance chart because I think it's such an important chart, how you've been knocking on this 49% level over and over again. And then look at what's happening right here. Charting as a chartist, which is what I do, is that it tells you the more you knock on a door, the more likely eventually you break through. And so in this case, this door was a firm door stretching back to really 2021, right? I think people have to remember that the Bitcoin dominance is a shorter term trend, meaning that if you go back further, I mean, it was way higher just before that 2021 bull market. So just like we said, this was consolidating, kept on hitting resistance, finally in the process of breaking out right here on the Bitcoin dominance chart. Now, in all fairness, there's not a lot of resistance on the way up now. I mean, you're getting to a point where there's a big move coming in this Bitcoin dominance. And the first thing I see, and I'll put a trend line in, see all these kind of pivot points right in here, right across here, this low right in there. And you're right about that. Look at this. Look at how you kind of can draw a line right across here. And what's even more amazing in this, if you take the highs of Bitcoin dominance from 2017 and you connect it to the highest point in 2021, look at the convergence of those two trend lines. And this again, it's vice versa. Because it really, I think that's very powerful when you see a confluence of these type of things. And so I'm right around that 59-60% level in terms of Bitcoin dominance. Absolutely. At some point, I do crack and come down. And in general, that's not going to be good for the alts, because if you have people getting scared even at the top, the best, I mean, Bitcoin, again, if there's one that's going to survive, that's not going to be regulated by the SEC, it's Bitcoin. If that breaks and starts to collapse down, let's say it even gets back to 20,000, very hard for money to feel comfortable to go into the even riskier assets like the Cardanos and the Solanas and those other ones as well. So one of the stories I take from 2017 with Bitcoin is, I tune into stocks. Especially back then in 2017, I was trading 99.9% stocks, commodities. So I had CNBC on in the background. And I used to always remember that in 2017, they had the ticker of Bitcoin at the bottom, monitoring price. They would talk about it on every show and bring it up. And then what happened was, as it came down in 2018, they eventually, it got to 10,000, to 9,000, 8,000, 7,000. They actually removed that ticker from the bottom because it was just, and they did not talk about it at all. And that was a signal to me, right? Once they were like, okay, no one wants to hear about this. This is not even a story anymore. We just want to pretend it doesn't exist. That's where I start to say, oh, okay, now people are fully kind of giving up on it. And you're right. Same thing in the dot-com bubble. It takes your wind out of your sails to the point where you say, this is too hard. It stretches you to your breaking point. And that's really where you're supposed to be buying. And we didn't see that in 2022. And again, I use crypto Twitter as one of my best research tools, in that when I post something, I monitor how many people disagree with me and how adamantly they disagree with me. And the more they disagree with me, the more I believe I'm going to be right, because again, that's how emotion and psychological charting and price action works. And so again, same thing now. We had gotten up to 30,500. And I said, hey guys, in fact, let me show you guys this. I mean, this is just like one of the reasons you have to charts are amazing in this respect. But if you looked back at 2021 right here, and you looked at the midpoint of the cycle, and then you saw here, it made sense that this was going to be where the most resistance on the chart was going to be. If Bitcoin was going to fail its move, it was going to be on this pierce of 30,000. Now, not just 30 hitting and kissing, but it actually needed to pierce 30, because psychologically, when price pierces an even number, that just having that 3 in front, that 30,000 versus 29, it's going to trigger more people to go long, and it's going to stop out people that are short. And so essentially you get the biggest switches at these even numbers, and that's exactly what we saw here. And so once that occurred, then price could actually start to come down, because you got your max people long, and there were not really any people left that weren't long at that point. Same thing with altcoins and so forth. So that was the key resistance trigger.
Soloway continues a long-term bullish stance on Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general. He emphasizes the importance of diversification and reinforces the idea that during a banking crisis, the need for cryptocurrency, specifically Bitcoin, is a crucial asset to have.
I'm still not necessarily in the camp that Bitcoin has made its cycle bottom yet. Couple things in terms of real world, like being in it. So the same things in terms of what happened in 2021, and even what happened over the last few months with the meme coin kind of situation, where you had these people that were they were bringing to market anything. I mean, it could have been like, hey, we drop ship, widgets. It like literally meant nothing, but they would name their company widget.com, right? Pets.com, like all these .coms. And instantaneously, they would shoot up hundreds of percentage. They would 10x, 15x, 20x. You'd have these pump and dump schemes, which, again, unfortunately, crypto Twitter and some of these other things, that's happened as well, where you had these people that would go on these message boards. Back then, by the way, the internet was in its infancy, but you still had these like Yahoo message boards where people would go on and pump and say, oh, this is going to be the next greatest thing. It was kind of the influencer type group of the early ages of the internet. And so you had the same mentality coming into it. If you notice in these crazy periods and other assets, you'll have the same sort of thing. People repeat, right? Leopards don't change their stripes, as they say. And so you have the same sort of impact, the same sort of bad behavior, if you will, that goes on. And by the way, you could go back to the 1980s with you look at the Jordan Belforts and stuff like that, with the pumping of the penny stocks and stuff like that. I mean, it happens every so often because greed and fear never change. So right. The greed of people will make them want to believe that whatever it is, even if they know deep down it has no value, they still believe that they can 10x their money and then sell it to someone else at a higher level. And that in and of itself was what raised flags for me. And so I think for me, that was like the real recognition of something's wrong here. When you have things that are being shilled that do not have any intrinsic value or use case even, that's a warning sign.
Soloway believes that the next sell in Bitcoin may come from issues like an economic recession in the US that could lead to a substantial collapse in the stock market. He believes that if the situation worsens, the Fed will lower rates and start printing money again to stimulate the economy. This could cause panic selling in Bitcoin and other risk assets as people try to cover margin calls or bring money into their stock portfolios. What do you think about Gareth Soloway's prediction for Bitcoin and the crypto market in the coming weeks? And how does this impact countries that hold the US dollar as their reserve currency? Comment down below. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is Library of Wealth. We'll see you in the next video.